up, YouTube? Topaz back for another album review because that's what this is listed as, and it's that XXXtentacion. But this album is called Revenge, in which it's not even really a new album, because when you start breaking it down, all of these songs came from other projects that just came out, but yet I feel as though it's a pretty decent joint to go ahead and listen to in order to gather an understanding of this new up-and-coming artist and such. But overall, I'm giving this one a low in yellow light because it's just not that strong of a project. Honestly, when you break it down, like, okay, none of these songs go up to 3 minutes and 30 seconds. Like, the longest song was 3 minutes and 29 seconds, where most of them only get to like 2 minutes. And that really just comes from somebody who has a lack of experience, that really don't have much to say, so you just put down one verse and then move on to the next song. Or maybe it was because he was going to jail and he recorded all of these songs, he had to just knock them all out. I'm not entirely sure. But the reason why I feel as though this is a good project for people to go ahead and peep out together an understanding of this guy is quite simply, he's one of the most versatile artists that's out there right now and such, dude. And I know a lot of people haven't been checking in on him or anything like that, really don't know who he is. He quite honestly does a lot of different music. Like, a lot of people just know him for the commercialized trap music that people have been pushing out there of his. But don't let that fool you. He definitely does any and everything because he simply can. And honestly, if he was more skillful, then these songs would be pretty dope too. But for where his skills are at right now, man, I can greatly appreciate what he's doing here. But let's go ahead and break down this project going from the top. Starting with the song Look At Me, in which this is the song that you probably know him best from, because this is the song that people been saying that Drake was ripping off for that More Life album and all of that, man, and all of this acclaim has kind of come up behind that, as this song really is what brought him to the limelight and such while he was locked up in jail and all that, dude. And I'm not gonna go too deep in it, man. All I'm really gonna say is this song and a lot of these other songs on here are badly in need of a re-recording, dude. Because clearly the recording quality just isn't there. It sounds like he recorded this on like a Radio Shack mic or something at the crib with no soundproofing or anything like that, which is rather amazing that this is the song that bringing him all this notoriety, because it just goes to show you don't have to have the top of the line recording and all of that, man, in order to push a individual song to get you somewhere. Honestly, it takes that promotion. Now, am I saying that you should go ahead and just forget about your album quality and all that and just make songs and put them out there and all that? No. You need to go ahead and focus on your own path and not worry about this other guy who got famous with this song that sound like he recorded it in a closet. The next song is that I Don't Wanna Do This, in which this song is only like 1 minute and 30 seconds, where it honestly just comes off as a bunch of ideas that he just threw together and just decided to throw this song out there. And I say that because of the drastic shift in the song within the first 30 seconds, but yet there's no core premise, there's no core song here, even though he does have somewhat of a concept. He's talking about a relationship that's ultimately on the brink, that's about to give away, but yet the sex is just too good, so they just keep together, even though the relationship is not very good. But that's pretty much a basic thought there that definitely needed to become something more, but it really just didn't happen. A super incomplete track. The next song is Looking for a Star, man, and when I tell you he's versatile, this is one of the better songs that you can point at and say that, because you may know him for the commercialized trap music that he's been putting out there, but this is a straight up pop single produced by Diplo, I do believe, as what he's ultimately just talking about is a woman that he can't get out of his head and anything like that. And from this point, he pretty much goes into rock music, starting with Valentine there, where on this song he's really just laminating on a lost love that he once had. And this again is another one of those songs that badly needs a re-recording, dude, because that quality just isn't there to the point that you really have to focus in order to break down anything that he's saying on there. The next song is King, in which he's still on his rock tip on this one, man, where on this one it really comes off as an apology for the things that he did that landed him in prison the second time. For those of you who don't know, why he was in jail for the second time is like a battery and all of that of a pregnant woman, and he's pretty much slightly touching on this. The actual charges were like false imprisonment and battery of a pregnant woman and all of that, dude, in which this is all like probably stemming from this relationship that's kind of falling apart and such. And you know, people get crazy when that type of stuff happens. So he honestly made a song somewhat apologizing for his actions on this one. The next song is Slipknot, and honestly this was the best song off this entire project, man, as it has just a hip-hop feel to it, as he shows you exactly how versatile he is with having strong vocab throughout this joint. He actually does do his thing. Production was really solid, as the song is ultimately about all of the issues that he puts himself in and how he feels so bad that his moms have to see him do all of this, like he's really ashamed of that, man. The last two songs in that Young Brats and R.I.P. Roach, he's doing pretty much the same thing here, where he's taking commercialized trap rap and combining it with alternative rock and having a really high level of energy, man. And honestly, I feel as though the youngins are going to eat this all the way up, even though these are other songs that definitely needed to have a remix to it as well. And I'm sure some younger listeners and people who enjoy his music is going to say that he's being super lyrical, he's doing a whole bunch of spitting on it, when he's really not. But yet I can understand like that energy that's applied to it is pretty dope. And I feel as though the energy that's within these two tracks is really the thing that took him to the notoriety where he's at right now. It's just he got to really get his stuff together and create better quality music, instead of putting out projects, man, that has less quality than most of these underground rappers out there, whether they know what they're doing or not. He definitely is better than that, especially seeing how versatile he is. And honestly, he has something, but he has to develop. He's really way too raw right now. Overall, I give this joint, man, a 2 out of 10. But a quick recap here, man. The positives that I'm taking from this is I love his versatility. I love the fact that he can do anything at any time and actually do pretty decent with it. But yet the negatives is he's honestly just not ready to be as notable as he is right now. But this concludes today's review, man, and now we're going to jump into a brief instrumental from underground producer Maniac before we jump into the news and then jump into an article from downloadpads.com. That more information has come out on Black Youngster, whatever, man, on why they wanted him to turn himself in. And what they saying is that Black Youngster rented the car that shot up Young Dolph's car 100 times and such. And what the lawyers is ultimately saying is that that rental car got stolen from them and they could have came up with something better than that. Even if that's true, that kind of comes off as unbelievable that somebody is going to steal your car and then go shoot up people who you are beefing at, you dig? Like, it is not looking good for this dude. But anyway, on today's article from downloadpads.com, and today's article is about monetizing your audience, and this is one of the most important things that you as an underground artist is going to ever have to do, because the thing is, you can find a way to get millions of people to watch your stuff, especially this day and age, man, with the YouTube and all of that, man. People will listen to your stuff for free all day. But how are you going to make money off of that? Sadly, many people think that, okay, if I got 1 million people listening to my project, then I'm going to get 1 million sales for whenever I drop an album or drop a single or anything like that. And it does not happen that way, dude. A lot of people will just listen to your stuff because it's for free. No other reason need to be involved. A lot of people have a fan base of people who really just don't buy anything. They just go out and bootleg everything that they can. It is very important for you to realize that you need a fan base that is willing to buy your materials. And then you need to create something that these people really, really want to the point that they are willing to buy it because you're the only one that can give it to them. Music may not just be it, man. Like, you may be looking at clothing. You could really be looking at anything, man. Like, your creativity is really the limit here, but ultimately you're going to have to find a way to make money off of all of these people that's watching you when you get to that point. I hope you enjoyed the show. You can follow me at Twitter up there, and you can go to downloadpads.com, that's down there, to read today's article.